Hello and welcome back to Women in Trades, the 4%. Today we have Abby here with us. She is a union steam fitter, and we are just going to get right into it. She's going to start telling us about how she got into her job.
I started in high school. I did the what's it called? It's like trade tech in I think my 9th year of high school, or like 9th grade, I guess. And it had different like woodworking, metalwork, automotive, and I think it was like tech design, I think. And then I fell in love with the metal working part of it, and I really fell in love with the welding aspect of the metal work. So that's more what I was focused on. And I did that the rest of high school. And then once I graduated high school, I went to college for a year for welding. And then I have family that are in the union as well. So I had the opportunity to join the union to be a steam fitter, and yeah.
Sometimes it definitely helps to have connections and know
100%.
somebody that's in that is almost like a surefire way to
Yeah.
get in. And if you don't know somebody, find somebody that does,
Mm-hmm.
and they might be able to help you out.
100%.
So are you doing an apprenticeship through your union right now?
I am. I'm almost in my 3rd year of my apprenticeship. And our
Nice.
apprenticeships are 5 years.
Nice. So I assume like all your classes and everything are paid for with your apprenticeship?
Yeah.
And how often do you have to go to class?
We have 3 levels of schooling through our 5 years. So in May, I did my first level of schooling, and then I'll probably do my second year within my 3rd year, and then I'll do my last level of schooling once I get into my 5th year, closer to when I'm done my apprenticeship, because our union also lets us do our CFQ right at the end of our 3rd level of schooling.
That's not too bad. We used to have to go, it was literally like once a week after work. We would have to go from like 5 to 9 p.m. And
Yeah.
then they changed it to like instead of going to work for a day, we would go have class like
Mhm.
once a month for 8 hours and we would get paid for it.
Yeah.
But I know that like everywhere does it differently, but like unions, you almost always get paid for
Mhm.
like your schooling or that's paid for.
100%.
So what inspired you to start? I know you said in high school in ninth grade you did a lot of stuff with like career centers and tech schools, which is awesome. I really wish that I would have done that and started
Mhm.
earlier. But what like inspired you to like take the leap and do that?
I mean, all throughout my childhood, I hated like being inside, working like at a desk, like school. I could not do schoolwork or paperwork or working at a desk. It's just not me. So once I found welding and metalwork, I kind of just like fell in love with it and was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I want to do, because it's not me. It's not the same thing every day, because I get bored of once you're doing the same thing every day, it gets boring. So it's nice to have those different aspects of you have different things to do.
Yeah, I agree 100%. What kind of job sites do you normally work on?
I started at a bigger facility, which was like a deep water cooling facility that cools and like heats around Toronto. And then I moved and I was working in a shop for that same company. And then I was laid off for a little bit. And then I started with a new company and I was working at a hospital.
Gotcha. So, as a steam fitter, because I know like here in the States, our unions are like plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters, like all in one local. Is that the same for you?
Yeah, so our union is welders, steam fitters, and plumbers.
Gotcha. So, like with steam fitting, do you only work on steam lines?
No, we do kind of a little bit of everything. We do water work. We never do like kind of the I don't want to say we never do the plumbing aspect, because we do some type of
Same.
plumbing, but like we
Yeah.
don't do like house calls where you're like having to fix toilets or faucets or anything. We kind of
Yeah.
just do like smaller lines that we would consider plumber's work. And then, yeah, we do bigger pipe with water.
Gotcha. I work for a mechanical contractor, so it's like kind of similar. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we don't do, I mean, we might like do a sink or something like in a lab at a facility. Like, that will be the extent of our
Yeah.
plumbing. Like, and even then, like, we have like groups of people, like, okay, they're a master plumber. So, like, if we do have a job with plumbing, they're gonna do
Yeah.
that. Like, but like throughout my apprenticeship, I did learn like a lot of plumbing, which like comes in handy, especially with like owning my own home and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So if I ever
100%.
have issues, I can like replace all my own piping and stuff
Yeah.
because at that point it's almost like easy compared to some of the industrial stuff that we do.
100%. Yeah.
So, if you could give one piece of advice to a woman who was wanting to start out in the trades, what would that be?
Honestly, find what you love. Because once you find what you love doing in the trades or as a job, it's not going to feel like going to work every day. You're not going to hate going to your job. And honestly, jump right in as fast as you can, as soon as you can, because the sooner you start, the more knowledge and more opportunities you have. And definitely don't be scared to just kind of jump in and join the trades. Because I know a lot of women get scared because it's male dominated. So it's harder for some people to kind of get in there and want to be involved in a trade.
And then going back to like what you first said, like find something that you love. I definitely agree with that because you'll know right away in the
Mm-hmm.
trades too if it's for you or if it's not. And if it's not, that's the beauty of it. There are so many different options out there. Like, try something else. Like,
100%. Yeah. You're not limited to one trade.
no. The opportunities are endless, and then even like I know me, like, moving up in my career, like, from being an apprentice to becoming a journeyman, like, my duties and stuff have changed, and my career has, like, evolved to
Mm-hmm.
where, like, like, I'm sometimes getting put in, like, lead positions and even, like, running little parts of shutdowns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, even if you're not loving what you're doing like as an apprentice or something, like it is like subject to change at some point. Like
100%.
if
Yeah.
you do a good job, like there are some like when I remember when I was an apprentice, I was fire watching all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I became a welder. I was like, I do not like fire watching. Like I would be a pipe fitter too, and I would like make the fits and help the welder, but then, like, once they were welding and it was like we were waiting on them, I was like, this is so boring. Like, I do
Yeah.
not just want to be a fire watch. I want to do what they're doing. That looks awesome.
100%.
But yeah, I think that's really good advice. So, okay, well, first of all, I do want to say that you are pretty much the reason that this podcast got going because, like, I had talked about it, it was in the works, but I had gotten to a point where, like, I don't know, I'm like, are people really gonna want to be on it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
are people even really gonna want to listen? And then like you like brought it up on Instagram, and I was like, shit, like people like really might be waiting for this. And
Yeah.
I already had like all the pages created and everything. One second, I'm gonna edit this out, but I gotta plug in my okay. But I already had all the pages created and everything, and I'm like, you know what? Like, why not? And I just started reaching out to people. So of course you were the one of the first people I reached out to. So thank you
I
for
love
like
that.
helping kick it
Of
off
course.
because sometimes I need that. But so far, the response has been awesome. Like, TikTok is finally,
Mm-hmm.
like, I made a page for the podcast and it's like taking off. We already have like, we're almost to 100 total hours of listening on the podcast, which is like
That's
really good.
crazy.
Yeah, it's really good for the first episode only being out.
100%.
Like, I've already, so this tells me that's something that us women have not only like wanted but
Mm-hmm.
needed. And so it's
100%.
really I love it. I'm so glad that we finally were able to do this. But other than that, I was gonna say on your Instagram, I see that you work with other women sometimes, don't you?
I do, yes.
You're so lucky. So how many are in your local currently?
Honestly, I don't know. Personally, I've only ever worked with one other who
Hmm.
was an apprentice also, which is probably who you usually see on my Instagram, Mila. But I also know of right now a handful of other women that are in my union, but I don't know the exact amount. I know that we're growing every day, but
I know that a lot of the unions, like here in Michigan, are finally starting to get a lot of women to join too. I'm not union and I'm the only woman at my company, but I wish we had more because I'm tired of working with like 50-year-old men and
yeah,
18-year-old boys is all it is right now.
100%.
And like I love the old guys, I do, but
It's
like it would
nice
be
to have another woman to talk to.
yeah, it would be. And like the only time I see one on site, we're like always doing completely opposite things on a big job. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna have the chance to talk to her and I know it. Like
Yeah,
so what would you say has been your biggest success so far, like in your career or even throughout your schooling?
I feel like my biggest success would honestly just being like finding what I really enjoy doing and what I want to do for the rest of my life. But like at the same time, having goals for the rest of my career. Because right now, by trade, I'm a steam fitter, but by the end of it, I also want to be a welder, pipe welder. So working towards that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember like that was a big thing for me too was like how fulfilling it is and to have goals and to know
Mm-hmm.
you're like working towards them every day, like your work actually matters and is going towards your end goal at the end of the day.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. So as a woman or even just in general, what would you say that your biggest challenge has been so far?
I feel like it would be the people who doubted me and doubted how far I could get with the trade, I guess. And definitely like going to college after high school, I had I think like one other girl in my classes, and we were always doubted by the guys in our class. Like, oh, do you need a help like hand with that? Can you lift that? Oh, can you do it by yourself? So I feel like definitely being doubted, and also guys I have worked with in the past having different opinions than I do, or even like coworkers hitting on you or flirting with you at the job
Yeah.
site.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. And going back to being doubted, I really wish that, and you know what, even if people are going to doubt you, they just need to keep it like to them damn
Mm-hmm.
selves because their opinion does not matter. Like, but I've had girls message me and they're like, well, my family or my boyfriend said that I can't do this because I'm a woman. And just like that stigma, it makes me so angry because
Mm-hmm.
why? Like if you know that someone wants to do something, like why try to discourage them? That is
100%.
yeah, that is not cool. And then of course, you especially being cuz you went right out of high school, you joined and you've
Mm-hmm.
been in 3 years, so you're probably like 20 or 21, right?
Yeah, I turned 22.
And I feel like I joined, well, I started my job when I was 21. Like the younger you are, the worse it is with how much they want to hit on you
Mm-hmm.
because they like think that they can take advantage of you or like get away with it. Like I'm gonna do a
100%.
little story time real quick because like when I was a first year apprentice, there was another girl who got hired at the same time as me
Mm-hmm.
and she was also a first year apprentice. She was a welder. She was really awesome, but she did not like men. The men really liked her, but she liked women. But these like she wasn't even 21 years old and they would be bringing her like bottles of liquor and stuff like trying to hit on her. And I'm like, "Bro, she is not even playing for your team. Like you
Literally.
are you are wasting your time and being creepy, but like go off, I guess.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
that's.
They are so weird. Like,
Mhm,
looking back at that, I'm like, because like, I'd never buy an apprentice male under 21 liquor, especially not for free. Well, not at
mhm,
all. Literally not at all. But not because like I think you're like cute. That is so weird. Like I
mhm,
look at them, the 18-year-olds and the 19-year-olds that we hire like fresh out of high school. I'm like, I literally call them the kids. I'm like, the kids, like,
mhm. The kids, yep.
and then my coworkers are like, "You're not that much older." I'm like, "Bro, I'm like about to be 30 in a couple of years. Like, my knees feel like I'm old."
Literally. Yeah, because I forgot that you guys are 21 for drinking age.
Yeah, what is your guys' drinking age? Really? Oh, you know what? I think I knew that because I live in Michigan and a lot of people will get like their enhanced license so they can
Mhm.
go to Canada and drink and
Yep.
stuff at 19. That's cool. I forgot about that.
Mhm.
Man, I couldn't even imagine. Like, I guess 19-year-olds here find a way to drink anyways,
Yeah.
but like, I could just not imagine like a 19-year-old out at the bar. Like, good for them though,
It's
because you
scary, but yeah.
can't even buy nicotine here until 21.
Yeah, ours is 19 also.
Ours used to be 18 and then they raised it, but like luckily I was already 21 because
Mhm.
I was already addicted to nicotine.
But
And the
Alberta's,
trades has just made it worse.
I think Alberta's like 18 for everything, which is crazy to me.
So do you travel for work or do you stay local in your hometown currently?
Currently, I'm just around Toronto, downtown Toronto, because my union's based out of Scarborough. So right now, just Toronto, but I do eventually want to travel. My
Yeah,
plan, I do want to move out to Alberta once I get my license for steam fitting and work out there, build a life out there.
that would be awesome.
Mhm.
Just for anyone listening, not all, but a lot of unions will make you finish your apprenticeship before you can travel for work. Is that how
Mhm.
yours is as well?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I
That's
at least,
how
I'm pretty sure.
that's how most of them are in Lower Michigan that I know of. But I feel like if there was like a big job or a big need,
Hmm.
they might like make an exception if there was like no work and there was a big
Yeah.
push. But yes. So I think that we have almost covered everything. One thing that I did want to touch on because I have had a lot of people messaging me recently asking about how to get in the trades without college or without any experience. That's when I would go back to starting an apprenticeship
Hmm.
somewhere. And if you're not able to do that, looking into any like helper jobs or even laborer
So,
jobs to get your foot in the door in the construction industry and start making some valuable connections because even just having that kind of experience on your resume can help you land a better apprenticeship somewhere.
100%, yeah.
So college is not always required, but it is also one thing that can help you get your foot in the door as well and get you ahead of the game, especially with things like welding and stuff. Like you can never start welding early enough. Like
Mhm.
I didn't start until I was 23, and I really wish I would have started in high school or something because my eyes are not getting any younger. Like I didn't have very good eyesight to begin with, and it's been getting worse since I started welding. So,
Honestly, I feel that too.
yeah, but I feel like part of it is I was not smart and I was using like a shade 10 for
Hmm.
like a couple months and then it started bothering my eyes and I went to like an 11 and I was like
Perfect,
this
yeah.
is better, but I feel like using too bright of a shade really was not benefiting me.
Hmm. Or like something I do, which is not smart, is honestly when I'm just tacking, I don't even put my shield on. I'm just like, yeah.
See, I see so many people do that. And with MIG, I definitely could do it with MIG. I
Mm-hmm.
could do it with TIG if I had a foot pedal, probably. But I don't know anymore. My eyes are so sensitive to
Mm-hmm.
light, and I've been flash burned so much that I don't even risk it because I'm like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like I've seen how fast your vision can go, and I'm like, nope, like I'm not playing around anymore. Because I've accidentally flash burned myself so many times, like
Me too.
welding in position especially. Sometimes you really can't help it. Or when your hood batteries are dying, like
Mm-hmm.
I stopped using auto dark lenses because my batteries would die and I'd get flash burned and then I would get angry and want to throw my hood like 30 feet. So yeah.
This stick also, when like you're putting this stick into the whip and you accidentally strike it, it's like, oh, yeah, that kind of hurts the eyes.
And I feel like the stick arc is so much harsher depending on like how many amps you're burning
Mm-hmm.
on TIG because like I've ran on like a 250 amp and if you flash burn yourself with that you're cooked. But like stick welding is even harsher on your eyes cuz like I have fit for people before and they have flash burned me
Mm-hmm.
and that shit is brutal. Like it is not a good time.
That's all we. No, not all we do. We do like TIG and stick on our sites. So fitting up either of those and having to like just turn your head so you don't get flash burn.
You get really good at holding a fit with your eyes closed and
Oh,
just praying that it stays.
100%. 100%.
Just praying. That was also why I wanted to become a welder because I'm like, I do not like this. Like, I do
Yeah.
not.
You have to pray it stays in place, it doesn't shift.
Yeah, and then if it looks like shit and it has to get cut apart, it's your fault. Like, that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, I'm the welder. Like, it's not my fault. It's crooked. Like,
I just
unless I'm in
weld.
the shop. Yeah, I just weld. I just literally, it's my first day. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. All right. Well, I think we had a really good talk today. Is there any topics that you wanted to add or anything that you wanted to add today?
I'm gonna piggyback off your story about your like male coworkers.
Let's go.
So I guess a couple months ago, I had a run in with one of my coworkers, hitting on me and telling me he had feelings for me. And keep in mind, this guy is like, I think, fifth year apprentice, and he started when he was later. So I think he's like late 30s, early 40s, and I'm turning 22. Yeah, it was not very nice because it went on for like 3 weeks. It would be like, and he would message me outside of work, not about work things. And like even when I made it very clear I was not interested, I had a boyfriend, I was like,
Andy knew you had a man.
yeah, and he still kept going. So
That's
then,
creepy.
yeah, it was
That's
so
creepy.
weird. And like I'm the type of person that wants to try and resolve it on my own before I bring it higher
Nope,
because
same.
I don't I don't want it getting out to everyone and everyone being like, she's over dramatic. Like she could have dealt this on her own, but it just got to a point where like he was stalking my TikTok. I blocked him on TikTok. Then he was stalking me on one of our other coworkers' accounts. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm actually done being nice. So
Yeah,
I brought it up to my foreman, thank God. And like they dealt with it. And they felt really apologetic because they're like, we wish you would have brought this up sooner. Like you do not deserve to feel like that. So definitely, if any women out there listening are going through similar situations, do not be afraid to bring it up because no one deserves to go into work feeling uncomfortable or like, because I was miserable at work when it was going on. I did not want to be there. So no one deserves to feel miserable or uncomfortable going into work. You're allowed to be there as much as everyone else.
absolutely. Do not be afraid to stand up for yourself. And if you feel that you cannot stand up for yourself, do not like be afraid to speak to someone that is higher up to get help, because that is what HR is there for. That is what your company is there for, is to take care of you, especially in a union. And
Mm.
if they don't do that, you do not want to work for them,
Nope.
literally, because there are companies out there that will make sure you feel safe, that make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you feel comfortable. Because just like you said, no one should ever feel uncomfortable going into work because of somebody specifically. Like,
100%.
that's not acceptable ever in any field. Like, even in a normal workplace that's
Mm-hmm.
not male dominated, like, that's just not cool, like, ever.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. My first job I was ever on, there was I was like brand new. I'm 21, like,
Mm-hmm.
and every day this laborer would be like, "Hey, like, do you want to go out to lunch? Do you want to go out after work?" And I'd be like, "No." And I don't look friendly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
my coworkers today, like, they were gonna mess with me, and they're like, "You look scary." Like, when I'm not feeling it, like, my face says it all. And that's why I
Me
would tell
too.
this man every day. I'm like, "No," like, and I was probably like, "Ugh," like, because he was crusty. Like, I was not interested.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know, like, who he was, and then I realized, like, he was a laborer for the general contractor. So, like, I bring it up to my foreman, and my foreman's like, "Do you want me to say something?" So, like, bless his heart, because he was ready to stand up for me, like, and that's all I could have ever asked for. But I was like, "Actually, like, do you care? Like, is it okay if I, like, tell him to fuck off?"
Mm-hmm.
And my foreman's like, "Yeah, like, go ahead." And I did, and that dude never talked to me again. He did still stare at me, and that was creepy. And, like, now I probably would have told him to, like, fuck off again. But, like, the fact that I brought it up to my foreman and he took it as a serious, like, thing and offered to intervene for me,
Mm-hmm.
like, said a lot. Because if I but I'm glad that I did, like, learn the confidence to, like, straight up just tell a man to fuck off,
Mm-hmm.
because it does come in handy, like, pretty often, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. Mine was like the same way when went to my I went to my foreman and he was like, okay, and he had to bring it up to like our bigger foreman, our general foreman, and they had a whole conversation about it, and like they felt extremely bad for me, and like they wanted me to bring it up sooner, and they were very like, this is not okay. Like the union that I work for and the company has a very big no harassment policy, and that
That's good.
is a form of harassment.
Yeah. Absolutely. If he's stalking you on multiple social media outlets and he knows you have a boyfriend, like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, dude, let's be real.
He
And it's always old crusty motherfuckers every
was like,
time.
he was some short, bald guy too. He was crusty.
That's why he thought that was acceptable. Yeah, that
Yeah,
little man syndrome. He's like, "This is fully acceptable." Like, yeah, she has a man, but she has to want me
it's
more.
fine. Yeah, you know.
Uh, yeah, I feel like most of my coworkers at my company have learned how I am, and
Mm-hmm.
that it's not ever gonna happen, and that I think they're scared of me, which I'm like, that's good. This is what I want. Like, that was the look I was going
Mm-hmm.
for. So if
Yep.
I'm intimidating and they leave me alone, like, that's perfect. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
I love
I'm glad that we could find time to do this.
me too.
Um, Ladies, never be afraid to stand up for yourself or to get someone to help you stand up for yourself, I think, is the
100%.
big takeaway from today's episode. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and our Spotify. I'll make sure that I link Abby's social media in the bio so you guys can follow along with her adventures. And we will see you guys on the next episode.